Denzel, have you ever fought in an atmosphere where it's so quiet that you can almost hear the... Because you know when early on in a card sometimes you can hear the feet shuffling on the canvas. You can hear every punch.
Did you fight in lockdown?
Yeah, I fought behind closed doors 4 times.
Exactly.
I hear every shot,
Did you ever feel bad? You know, like, because sometimes you whack someone, you got the nasty little 10-ounce leather gloves on, and you hear the sting come off their ribs, and usually you can't hear it because the crowd are going crazy. But then I covered a few, of the lockdown shows, and you could just hear every punch going in.
Punch. Like, it makes you kind of admire your work. You hear it and you go, "Ooh, I know that hurts."
Does it make you feel different when the crowd is very quiet, when they aren't as engaged, when there is a smaller crowd? Yeah, can you appreciate what George is saying, Denzel, about that it didn't translate here because for Fury and Ngannou in that event because that you couldn't feel the atmosphere of the crowd?
I mean, I guess there's 2 sides to it. I mean, like, without the crowd and the noise, I guess you can maybe lock in a bit more, focus a bit more, because there's less distraction depending on who you are. And some people, like, they get up for it with the crowd. They do it for the crowd. There's some boxers that are just bad sparrers in the gym. And on fight night, the atmosphere and everything gets them up for it and they perform brilliantly. So I guess it just depends on what type of fighter you are.
When you were watching that last weekend, did you have views on Fury and Ngannou?
Yeah, I did. I was very, I was shocked. I was surprised. I didn't expect that at all. I remember, I think I was going back and forth with people on Twitter saying, people are saying Ngannou's got a puncher's chance. I'm saying that puncher's chance is very slim, but
I gave him 10 minutes to make an impact in the fight, and obviously he did it in the 8th minute. I think Fury never recovered. But George and I were discussing it. Do you think he couldn't stop himself from underestimating?
100%. 100%. And that's why you got to give credit to the elite fighters, the greatest fighters, because it takes a lot to lock into that mindset every single time you step up. So he saw Ngannou and thought, he's never boxed before. All I'm going to do is just dance around him and flick my jab at him. But Ngannou was just too strong. And I think that was the difference. I mean, Fury couldn't use his weight and use that weight advantage and bully him and all that stuff because Ngannou was a stronger man. He looked the fresher at the end of the fight as well.
Did you have Fury or Ngannou winning?
You know what? I don't score fights no more. And I'm not just saying that like as a cop-out.
Splinters, sitting on the fence.
No. In all honesty, I think regardless of who won, Fury took the bigger loss that night in general, just because he shouldn't have been able to do that to you. You're meant to be the best fighter in the heavyweight division. That means the whole division's in trouble if that's the case.
But aren't we now thinking, I want to see Fury and Usyk because it's a much closer fight than we ever thought?
No, I think in Fury and Ngannou is bigger than 2 is bigger than
it will
Fury
happen.
Usyk.
Do you not think it'll happen? Fury and Ngannou 2, he's got to put the record straight.
I think I don't think Fury fights again.
Yeah,
but if he does fight again, he fights Ngannou. I don't think he fights Usyk.
You don't think so?
I don't think he fights Usyk.
I think he has to, otherwise his leg.
That's very odd, George. That's a very. But
I've heard that a few times.
They've signed to fight in February.
Who cares?
That's true.
Who cares?
So George,
they were signed to fight on December 23rd. I thought, and then he didn't do a press conference. First of all, people think I bash Fury a lot, and I do, but I just tell it how I see it, how I think it, and I am a big Usyk fan, and. This is speaking from what I've experienced in my career, and I can imagine that Fury has more than enough now. More than enough. Does he really need to roll the dice? And yeah, sure, get maybe a career-defining win against Usyk and a big payday, or does he get beat? And then how does he tell everyone? The baddest man on the planet.
I reckon they're going to have a split draw in the first fight anyway, and they'll fight a second time.
Fury Usyk?
Yeah, I think it'll be. I've got a feeling it'll be so close.
Are you talking about conspiracies now, Gareth?
No, just.
You keep talking about aliens, and now you're talking about conspiracy.
No, you're the aliens guy. I just think that I think it'll be a very, very close chess match physically. And I do. It wouldn't surprise me if we're finding it very hard to score it at the end, and it's a split draw. Remember, they're signing a 2-fight deal. Remember.
Yep.
How would if you were in his position? Is that what you're talking about? You'd have thought
Fury.
Yeah.
I'd be questioning a little bit, and only he knows. But is he thinking, do I really want this anymore? Am I really willing to go all the way? And at times in his career, he's been writ off and he's come back to show people, and that's like what's been his motivation. So maybe that will be the case. But maybe he's thinking, I boxed Derek Chisora over a year ago, and I didn't really train that hard for that because he was finished. And before then, the fight against Dillian White, that was pretty comfortable. I haven't really been pushed since fighting.
Before he fought Dillian White, could we have predicted that he would dominate him so easily?
Yeah, I think so.
You know, Dillian White had never boxed for a world title before. He'd never boxed anyone. He had to,
Did you think Fury would win it that easily as he did?
Well, when I watched Fury against Deontay Wilder, number 2, I thought this guy is the best in the division. If he fights like this, then I don't see how anyone beats him. And
Denzel, let me ask you, how do you? George's got very strong and very salient views on the heavyweight division. How do you see the heavyweight division at the moment?
It's in trouble a little bit. There's a lot going on, and there's nothing going on at the same time. It's like all of these rumours, reports, and all these things, and nothing's really happening from it. We're not really seeing the fights we want to see. AJ Wilder's been in talks for
5 years.
Better part of 5 years, yeah. Fury, AJ's been going on for probably about the same. Like, no one's really fought anyone at this
Fury
moment in time.
AJ's been going on since the beginning of lockdown, hasn't it, really?
Yeah.
And that was about to happen, but we had the arbitration case.
Was it?
Yeah.
Do you like heavyweight boxing, Denzel?
I did, but now I'm not really too interested.
I just don't buy it. I mean, I don't buy it from either of you. I think heavyweight boxing is really exciting at the moment, and it's going to happen next year.
No.
We're going to have some massive fights. With Wilder and AJ, you're not going to watch Wilder versus Parker. What are we talking about then?
But I still think the heavyweight division's in trouble. You ask any fighter out, ask any fighter out there who their favourite fighters are, and none of them will mention any fighter from the heavyweight division.
How is it in trouble though?
Because they're nobody's favourite fighters. If you ask any kid on the street, who's your favourite fighter? No one's going to mention any fighter from the heavyweight division.
It's always been like this. Why haven't we had an undisputed title for 24 years? Money, timing, ego always comes into it. You go back to the mid-80s, Don King brought Mike Tyson through in that tournament with the HBO. I think the way they should do is have a tournament for heavyweight boxing.
Oh, yeah, literally.
Pick the top 12, have 3 groups. You were in a tournament like that. It sorts out. I know you got to the final and you didn't win it, but I'm not pushing that at you. But look what it did. Look what it created. It created a number 1 in the division.
Don't worry about my one. The cruiserweights, which was Usyk.
Yeah, exactly.
They had all 4 world champions went in.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a loss on anyone's record.
No, there wasn't.
And they all fought within 12 months. But the problem was, Gareth, Usyk completed the cruiserweight division within 12 months.
Yeah.
And then he had to go up to heavyweight. What happens if we complete the heavyweight division? You'll be out of a job, mate.
I won't be out of a job. There are 17 weight divisions to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, there is women's boxing to talk about. There's boxing not in the Olympics to talk about. There's the growth of amateur boxing to talk about. There's stars coming through all the time. There's narrative and storytelling. We will never be out of a job because this sport will never go away. It's in our DNA and it's primeval.